8 reasons why SJWs should hate their own allies. Hey, it's Prince of Queens, and it doesn't take a professional internet user to have noticed by now that fourth wave intersectional feminist social justice warriors really don't think all that highly of their own allies, and they seemingly never have. Just take a look at the way they've treated Macklemore, or what happened to Joss Whedon after the rapey line in the second Avengers film. You can Google things like "no more allies" or similar search terms and find countless blogs complaining about how the allies to ending racism, sexism, and transphobia are basically never good enough, and they always want something in return, or that they should be better at listening, or really doing as they're told, because leaders in the SJW movement don't want allies, of course. They tend to want followers and their money. Still, while I'm definitely not a fourth wave intersectional feminist social justice type by a long shot, and at the risk of violating Napoleon's rule of never interrupting your enemy while they are destroying themselves, I figured I would offer some advice to SJWs, which is the following list of reasons that they absolutely should be wary of their allies. Reason number 1 is that they'll lead you to danger and potentially get you hurt, arrested, or worse. This one should be fairly obvious, and I'm well aware that a lot of social justice types are aware of this themselves, but it should be repeated. While most protesters are rather benign and just want to march peacefully to prove that they are doing something in quote-unquote real life, there are also the ones who protest activism is a vehicle for them to compete with each other, and they're trying to one-up each other by doing edgy things. These are the types of antics that inspire white female anarchist types to march at the head of the Black Lives Matter rally on a highway, leading the chant, "Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon, pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon." Usually they're angry at police because they got arrested one time, deservedly so, after they were smashing windows or something to prove that they are a badass. Ultimately, they probably have a familial social safety net, and they know that the cops would never dream of actually really hurting the young, foolish white girl in her rebellious phase all that much. But if you're a black dude running around with this crowd, watch out for these white girls, because they are going to get your ass in some trouble. The second reason that social justice allies tend to suck balls is that they are a bunch of yes people, and they'll go along with what you have to say if they think that you are oppressed, which can lead to delusions in regards to the validity of your own arguments, especially if the people surrounding you are under the impression that siding with you gives them the moral high ground. Now, let's be clear. As a YouTube personality, I definitely have to keep in mind that just because I have an audience of thousands of people who watch my videos and tend to agree with me, that doesn't mean I'm always right. However, one thing that is fortunate is that I've never marketed myself as some sort of virtuous victim that needs support for my constant personal oppression. If I did that, I could lose perspective and end up victimizing other people but refuse to admit it. I can be kind of a dick, sure, and that's fine as long as I've never said, "Oh, I'm a saint and I'm a victim." Reason number 3 that you should be wary of feminist allies is pretty simple. Male feminists really are often creepy people. These are often people who have legitimately done things wrong in the past or have strange and maybe violent sexual urges and are overcompensating by going on and on about how they are male feminists. It's not that there aren't nice ones, because there are. Still, while many men self-identify as feminists, depending upon how trendy it happens to be at any given time, like all feminists, the vast majority of male feminists don't really know anything about feminist theory, history, or contemporary feminist activities and political groups. But the guys who do know about it and continue to support it are likely often being blackmailed or something because they've done something wrong. Reason number 4 that social justice allies are not your real friends is that if push comes to shove, they'll always defer to somebody with more oppression points than you, and will be willing to throw you under the bus if necessary. You see, social justice allies are basically never truly loyal people because they are ideological followers. And followers of an ideology have no loyalty to individuals, no matter how virtuous that person might be. They are only loyal to whomever is the highest ranking officer under the ideology, aka who can claim to be the most oppressed. Reason number 5 that these people aren't in it for the long haul is that they are usually just going through a stage of rebellion inspired by angst towards their mommy or daddy, and they'll happily settle down and completely forget all of this social justice activism when things get difficult or when they find a nice husband or wife. Or they are rebelling against an ex of theirs or something, and they'll get over it sooner than later. Reason number 6 not to trust them is that they are very often only allying with you because they are overcompensating for deep and latent bigotry that they feel ashamed of harboring within themselves. White women who try to be anti-racist are the worst in this way. They are usually super fucking racist, for example, but they are also deeply conceited about how virtuous of people they are, so they'll do everything they can to prove that they are anti-racist, even though it's pretty obvious that they are being extremely phony. Reason number 7 to be skeptical of SJW allies goes out to transgender people who find themselves surrounded with cis or non-binary allies. You should be nervous because of the fact that can't it not be good for transgender people's mental health to have friends who relentlessly tokenize them as trans? Because eventually, wouldn't you want to end up with a certain amount of stealth, having nobody realize that you're trans? If people were your allies and not just your friends, wouldn't it be awkward if your transgenderism was the main thing that brought you together, especially if they aren't even trans themselves? Also, what happens when they start judging you because you conform to the gender binary? This happens all the time. The 8th and final reason to avoid SJW allies is because you really don't know if they might have secret nefarious intentions. You, as an individual, might just be some idealistic anarchist that wants to topple the American government and grow crops with your friends or something. But the person trying to lead you and your friends might be a full-blown communist, or dare I say it, they might be being paid by some creepy billionaire. That's all I have to say for this video. Be like these people, please, so I can buy a new computer and start making videos that actually have motion footage, and stay tuned.